3-on-3 foosball. This is an introductory game of invasion that I have used successfully with 3rd and 4th grade students. Possible learning targets include tossing, catching, throwing, and rolling skills, specific strategies for games of invasion, and skills that focus on personal and social interactions. As always, being clear on the learning targets before choosing the activities that will help your students hit them will help both the teacher and the student focus. I teach this in phases, with challenges and rules added during each phase. This matches how the brain learns and allows for more moderate to vigorous physical activity. My teaching space allows me to set up more than one game at a time. Keeping this 3-on-3 works best because it allows for one open passing lane that is always open in a team zone, but challenges the kids to fake and cut in order to move the ball into scoring position. Phase 1. Learning the space and moving with balance and control. With the music on, students are challenged to move into open spaces, staying within the outside boundary lines of the playing space, freezing the action when the music stops. There are 6 students in each playing area, with 3 on each team. You don't need to have teams designated at this point, but you can see that I have. Phase 2, the zones. Place the markers in the playing area marking 4 zones. Continue moving and freezing the action, challenging students to move into open spaces, balancing the space by moving through the zones. This gives students a chance to become familiar with the zone setup. They will need to see that there are 4 distinct playing zones. Phase 3. Teams and balancing the zones. Assign teams to 2 non-adjacent zones. Music goes back on, and the students are challenged to make cuts through the opposing team's zone into open spaces. They may not have more than 2 players in one zone. When you stop the music, have students locate their teammates visually, asking them to think about what they need to do and where they should move in order to balance the space. Phase 4. Moving a ball between zones. Add a ball for each team. Also add the challenge that when they are in possession of the ball, they may only pivot. Students are now challenged to continue to make cuts through the zone, tossing, rolling, throwing the ball, working to create open passing lanes, and maintaining control of the ball. At this point, they are only playing their own team's ball and not attempting to intercept. Each team is trying to limit the amount of times they lose control of the ball. You can create a point system where the teams accumulate points for connections and then in the next round try to beat their own score. Here you also introduce the cutting through rule. Players can cut through the opposing team's zone but can only play the ball in their own. Phase 5. Zone keep away. Take 1 ball out. Students are still challenged to continue to make cuts through the zones, tossing, rolling, throwing the ball, working to create open passing lanes, and maintaining control of the ball. But with 1 ball, they are now also challenged to block passing lanes to gain possession. While they can cut through the opposing team's zone, they can only play the ball in their own. Here I also introduce our out-of-bounds rule. Regardless of who the ball goes out of bounds on, it goes to the defensive team to be thrown in. Everything evens out in the end, and this allows for very clear out-of-bounds calls. Here you will need to teach each team's defensive and offensive side of the playing space. This will be important later. Phase 6. Zone keep away with points. Challenge the catching and throwing accuracy by adding a point for each time a ball is caught before bouncing. Play rounds specified by time and challenge the kids to try and beat the team's score each round. They continue to practice the out-of-bounds rule, letting the defensive side go get any out-of-bounds balls and throw them back in. Full foosball. The final addition is to set up a number of pins outside the playing area behind each defensive zone. This creates a way to shoot and score and adds the challenge of moving the ball quickly to not only create open passing lanes, but shooting lanes too. We work on defensive positioning and reacting quickly when there is a turnover. Once students have the basics of this activity, other skills can be used. We do soccer-style foosball as well. Challenging students to think about where, how, and when to move through well-designed questions as you move through the progressions is critical to the learning. I hope you can use this and your students enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me via Twitter or email, and visit learningonthemove.org if you're interested in more activities.